What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of the Shockwave Totem video guide. I'm Wapacha. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to be covering is the playstyle of Shockwave Totem. Although your effective HP is enough to do mid to high level content, especially when in a group, I suggest you make sure you are not playing too far forward or overly aggressive. Shockwave Totem has a pretty small cast range, so get used to this, and do not accidentally walk into something you otherwise would not. Use the cast range plus the range of your AoE to zone enemies away from you and just kill them before they even get to you. This is a large part of your defense, so be careful and play safe. Next up, we're going to have our stat goals, or basic benchmarks, if you will. Try to aim for these stats with your Eldritch Battery Mind Over Matter Shockwave Totem build. 4.5k HP, 2k ES, 170 strength, and 125 dexterity. 125 dexterity is just to allow you to use all the way up to a level 13 Val Haste. Do keep in mind that you cannot trade a Val Haste or a Val Skill Gem to Avenger with a Scour to D-level it. You want to aim for somewhere between the range of 35 to 45% chance to crit in town or in your hideout. And with a 5-link setup with a level 19 Shockwave Totem, you'll have around 15 to 16k tooltip DPS, while level 20 will have 17 to 18k, and a level 21 will have somewhere around the range of 19 to 20k tooltip. As we can see here in the tooltip, we deal a huge amount of elemental damage. This is what makes elemental damage nodes such as Elementalist, Elemental Dominion, and Trickery so strong for Shockwave Totem. There has been a lot of debate whether or not Physical to Lightning is reliable enough for Shocking to use it over increased critical damage. Remember that since Physical to Lightning converts damage, it does not suffer from the typical low-end damage that Lightning skills generally have. If I were to drop any gem for increased critical damage, it would be Added Fire, as Physical to Lightning still has the percent of physical damage gained as extra lightning damage that we see on Added Fire. As for jewels and stat priorities that we will be looking on our jewels, I suggest looking for any jewel with crit multi, cast speed, crit chance, spell damage, and life. Just a normal, strong DPS crit jewel. Shockwave Totem does also benefit greatly from the unique flask Taste of Hate and its Ziri's Promise. Its Ziri's Promise is relatively inexpensive, while Taste of Hate is arguably the best flask in the game, making it quite pricey. As mentioned in part 1, you do have a few choices of where to go for your endgame passive tree. The first method being the Zealot's Oath pathing. The problem that I ended up having with Zealot's Oath is that you cannot reliably sustain the cost of Shockwave Totem through use of Eldritch Battery, especially if you want to use Carcass Jack. This is less of an issue with Restless Ward, but still an issue nonetheless. What ends up happening is your character will have under 1k energy shield and you have no life regen. This is what made my character feel pretty vulnerable in a number of game situations. Which leads me to the pathing that I'll be suggesting here. Due to using Val Clarity and Val Clarity having a long base duration, you forego the need of regen to your energy shield granted by Zealot's Oath. In addition, this saves 1 passive point and gives you 20 more strength due to the augmented path in the Templar tree. Also, I think this pathing plays better into the style of a Mind Over Matter caster, since whenever you take damage you will be repositioning yourself to avoid future damage and can buy yourselves the few seconds you would need to regenerate your energy shield to full. Ultimately, this is the passive tree I use now for my life-based Shockwave Totem builds. So why did I suggest the Zealot's Oath tree in part 1? I think this really comes down to personal preference and playstyle. Whichever path feels the most efficient for you. We do have one other option for Shockwave Totem, and that option is low life. Now here are the pros and cons of low life. Pros include high effective HP, easily 2k more than the life-based counterpart, the highest potential DPS through Pain Attunement, status ailment immunity through the use of 4 utility flasks, and you could run 1 additional aura, which would be Wrath. The cons, on the other hand, though, it requires a mana pot. You cannot avoid using a mana pot with Shockwave Totem on mana. The cost is so high, especially when you get into a 6-link, you cannot do it. This is a blessing and a curse, because while you have to use a mana pot, you don't necessarily need to spec into any mana management, which saves you a couple points. Another con of low life is you will naturally have less area of effect. You cannot use your Carcass Jack, you have to use the Chavron's Wrappings or Solaris Lorica. But that brings me to the final con of low life, it's the gear. I mean, Shavron's Wrappings is a relatively expensive chess piece, and although it has dropped in price as of late, it's still not very attainable by most players. I wouldn't really suggest this route unless you had the currency and you really wanted to do this. You could argue that while you get higher tooltip DPS with pay attunement, you get higher real-time actual DPS with the AoE provided by Carcass Jack. But I did end up going the low life route during the 1 month Ruckus League, and it is important to note that being low life did save me a few times from what would have otherwise been one-shot situations. Did you see how much that hit me for? Did you guys see how much that hit me for? Check the description below for the links to the passive trees I recommend for each spec. Also, feel free to ask any questions in the comments or come to my live stream at twitch.tv/Wapachaw. I will be making more guides in the future, so be sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter at Wabachaw if you have any guide requests. Thank you guys, and see you later.